Hi, everyone, and welcome to the fifth episode of Singapore Championship Spotlight. And in today's episode, I'm glad to welcome Isaac Wong into the show, who is the current OH NR holder and one of the top Singaporeans in 2x2 to 4x4 with multiple NRs across these events. So, welcome, Isaac. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's been a bit busy these last few months, but yeah, I'm excited for the national championships that will be happening next week.
That's good. That's good. So, how's your practice for SGC been going so far?
Not great. So essentially now I'm in uni, but I'm doing an internship this semester. So for the past month, I've had like essentially zero time to practice because I come home from work and I'm like quite tired, and I have like
Oh,
those few hours at night to practice. I try to do as much as I can, really. Usually most of it is just trying to warm my fingers up. But by the time I'm warm, I have to go to sleep. So yes, it's
right,
quite sad. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, mostly, I guess it's not really focusing on certain techniques or learning new
Yeah.
things anymore.
Mhm. Yeah, really, at this point, it's more just trying to nail down what I know, what I've known, I guess, for a long time. I've actually tried to learn some new stuff for OH, but it kind of depends if I can like settle everything down like this week. Yeah.
Oh, what's this new stuff that you've been working on?
Oh, essentially it's just new elves for last layer because my elves I've used them for forever. But recently Chongwen has introduced some new elves in the SG Cubers group, and I'm quite excited
Oh,
to be able to
yes.
use them. Yeah, if I can nail them.
Right, right. Yeah. I remember the one out that he was really useful that he shared was the OHE perm, the one with the F and RU spam, then F prime.
Ooh, yeah,
Have you switched
yeah,
to that one?
that was good. Actually no, because I feel like my regular EPUM with like the D moves, with your ring fencing,
RUD?
actually works like quite quite well for me. Yeah, so that one I will be sticking with the standard elk.
Mm,
Yeah.
right, right. Yeah. So, do you have any goals for SGC?
Want to keep the goals quite realistic this time. So essentially want to beat PRs. A PR in OH and 4x4 will most likely guarantee an NR already because I'm very, very close. I think for OH, obviously I hold the NR.
Right.
But
Yeah.
for 4x4 I am zero point zero 0.01 off, you know? The NR
Single or
average.
average? Oh,
Yeah,
average.
that's right. Yeah.
Oh wait, so
Single,
currently average is Daryl?
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
26.53, I think. I have a 26.4, something really, really close like this.
Oh, so close,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, and in those two events, I probably yeah, it's a realistic chance, like 50%, something like that, and I could break the ML. The rest of the events, yeah, I just want to give a good like performance. Like in 3x3, it's always been something that I've struggled with. Maybe we'll talk about this a little later on, but in terms of
Yeah.
nerve management and stuff like that, 3x3
Right.
has always been my kryptonite. But I hope I can do something good there. Yeah, maybe a few sub six singles and sub seven averages.
Right. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. And so from what you said, I'm guessing that, now that you have quite limited time to practice, the events that you choose to focus on will be 4x4 and OH.
Yeah, essentially that's what I do practice every day. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah. That's it's quite interesting coming from this aspect as well. I mean, obviously most Cubers are in school, like teenagers who are not working, so they have all the time to practice whatever events they want. But when your time really shrinks down to this amount, you have to pick and choose what you want to focus on.
It's been a change because this is the only internship that I sorry, the only semester that I have an internship. Most semesters I'm just in school as a regular student. So yeah, it's definitely I've had to adjust my
Mm,
schedule a bit to suit like this current situation. Yeah.
right, yeah, that's fair. And so I guess riding on the last point that you mentioned about the nerves management,
Yeah.
because I noticed that the events that you do, they are the events that are really fast, like the solves are over in a really short period of time, which means that your margin for error is really small because one small mistake will already make up a huge percentage of the time, right? So how do you normally manage your nerves in these type of events?
Well, I've tried like plethora of things really. One thing that I know has worked well well, to some extent, I'll give the caveats later. It's basically to turn like slower.
Mm.
So I essentially like can safety a solve if I just turn slowly. I will get an average that is very stable, like the times are really consistent, but it's like 5% slower than what I will get at home. It's just a
Mhm.
stable like 5% slower. Um, it feels a bit like it feels good to solve, I guess, because like, I know that I can expect the times that I will get, right? But obviously, I know that I'm not solving at my peak because I'm safetying every single solve. Yeah.
Right.
So I guess that's the main thing that I've like discovered over the years. I do like the regular things like having a sort of pre-solve routine, like just doing a couple of outs, breathing in and out, and trying
Mhm.
to calm myself. But other than that, really, there's nothing else that seems to have really worked for me. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I guess this type of technique would be quite useful in finals because I was just discussing with some other people as well that getting in the finals might be harder than actually getting on a national podium. Like once you get the finals out of the way, you don't need to perform at your super peak. There's a high chance that you will make national podium.
Right, right. Especially how competitive the Singapore national championships have been.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
finals are really like if you get in the finals, you probably have a national podium already waiting for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, right. And so now I also want to discuss more event-specific things and in particular your OH turning style. Because I see that well, I wouldn't say it's very uncommon, but a lot of people well, not many people have a similar turning style to you. And so how did you develop this turning style? And do you think you might in the future explore using more table abuse in certain specific situations?
Yeah, so you've alluded to it already. Like the main distinction, like the thing that's very distinct about my OH turning is that I don't use the table at all. Maybe like once in like 20 sols I'll tap it on the table. Yeah, but yeah, essentially keeping the cube off the table is something that I've done since the start. It wasn't something that I tried to do per se, but at the time, Antoine Kenton, who was like a big, he held world records, OH world records at the time. He never really used the table, and so watching his solves, I just never had the urge to use the table as well. I think something that was also sort of circumstantial was that keyboard setup at home, where I would like time myself, there was just like no space to put the cube on to like tap it because I
Oh,
would just hit the space bar. There's just no space.
right.
So I guess that just forced me to keep my hand in the air the entire time. Um, I don't think there is like a very big difference between using the table and not using the table. They're just like trade-offs, and it really just becomes a style in the end, which is to each their own. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, for me, when I do OH, sometimes it's hard for me to do a rotation very quickly. For example,
Yeah.
a Y rotation without using the table rather than putting it down and then picking it up again. But I guess if you master that, it can be quite fast because you don't need to, essentially put it down, pick it up in a different orientation.
Yeah. So I do think that like at least for me, like rotating it in my hand, it's faster than putting it on the table, but it does run the risk of sort of like misholding the cube once the rotation is complete. So there are trade-offs, yeah, like this.
Yeah, yeah. But I guess also the other thing, well, it doesn't really affect the speed, but aesthetically, I find no table of use more it's more nice to watch. It looks more clean, in my opinion.
Well, for me as well, yeah. I mean, it's the copium that I have, right? Like that my soles look a bit cleaner than most others. But yeah, for me, it really does have that like appeal, especially when it's let's say it's like even RUFLs, where some people might use the table for like adjusting the F face or whatever. I find that not using the table is like it just really looks like you've got the cube under control, Like you don't have to use the table. It's called OH, not OHOT. It's not like one table.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And also speaking of RUF algs, what type of move sets do most of your OH algs use? Are you more of a RUF person or more of a RUD?
It's just interesting actually. I feel like there's quite an even split of RUF and RUD elks. The traditional preference was for RUD.
Yeah,
So stuff like the R perm. So this would be RP, I guess. Yeah, we would switch from like a RUF 2HL to RUD OHL, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah. But in the recent years, when I've been like learning new Ls, seems like the RUFLs have sort of taken over because of the addition of like being able to do this for F prime,
yeah,
right? And yeah, everybody still does the thumb for F essentially.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, those sped up RUFLs considerably. And so I think probably the more recent Ls that I've learned are almost like all RUF. Yeah. I haven't learned that many Ls recently, but the ones that I can think of, yeah, probably RUF.
Right, yeah. Because well, for me now I'm too lazy to learn any more OH things. So most of my alts are just from long ago, and
Yeah,
like you said last time, the preference was RUD, so I mainly do
yeah.
RUD, and I guess
Mhm.
also sometimes RUL, but that one's just Z into RUD.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the way I do RUDLs is really just with a Z rotation, and there'll be RU like on both sides, right? So RU
Oh
gen
yeah, yeah.
on either
Right,
side.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. And another question which is sort of related to this is how you develop high TPS in OH.
So I think like in general terms, my TPS for OH is on the high side. It's something that like I often find is the thing that's like limiting me from getting to like a faster speed, like a lower time. So I've spent quite a bit of time trying to like improve my TPS for OH, and a bunch of that relies on just two gen practice. So
Mm.
especially if I'm just getting back into OH, like the for the first week, I essentially just do two gen practice because there's no point trying to like um try to work on look ahead or whatever if you just can't turn the cue.
Yeah,
So yeah, my practice sessions might just look like two gen the entire time. Try to get my TPS up to speed again, and then we try to focus on Ls, try to focus on look ahead and stuff like this.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this idea of two gen is a bit similar to how Max Park solves because I've seen some of his solves and a lot of it is just while the alts itself are not two gen, he executes them two gen, and when it's not two gen, he just rotates until it's two gen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is I guess like the o- really the only thing that you can do for OH because your hands is restricted in like this position, right? And you have to just use two gen. Yeah, I
One
really
of
think that like
his, yeah.
doing sorry, yeah, I really think that like doing two gen solves like really gets like the coordination of like triggers down so that when
Mm.
you have to perform them in a solve, like it's just like there's a rhythm to thing, every single trigger. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I wouldn't say two gen is like, the only thing you can do because well, especially the Rouge solvers, they've been doing a lot of like home group
Okay.
B moves, home group L moves,
Okay.
which I mean, for normal people, it seems quite difficult to do. You know, your
Yeah.
fingers are in very awkward positions,
Mhm.
and what I'm sure if you really practice those finger tricks, you could very consistently do them. But at
Yeah.
least to me, you know, as someone who doesn't really practice those, it seems a more risky option. Like if you're going to turn in comp, 2 gen would be a lot safer to spam
Yeah.
as
It really is. Yeah. So like I guess the way Max Park does it is really like it's the most like principled way, like rotating into a two gen situation, right? Then rotating out of it, rotating in and out. Yeah,
yeah,
is probably like what is the most um like bare bones OH solving. Yeah.
right, right. And okay, on to 4x4, because last time you told me you had experimented a bit with OPA on 4x4.
Yeah.
So which version did you use? Do you use ARP or do you use the four blind tracing version?
Oh, I might be mixing up the names. I'm very sure it was ARP. I don't
Uh,
even know if I know how to trace it anymore because there was like this like counting thing, right? And like
yeah.
whether like an edge was greater or not, then you one or minus one, and then something. Yeah, essentially, I tried my best, and it was like a solid 2 months of solves. I think I probably racked up about 1.5 thousand solves, including all the practice um of like tracing and solving because both
Mhm.
those like inspection and solving, because both those
Yeah.
phases of the cube solving are changed, right?
Right.
And yeah, I gave it my best shot, and I don't think it was possible for me to have um like transition into it like at all. Basically the solving was fine. So that one, it went from like a plus 3 seconds off my usual global average, and it went down to under my global average, which
Oh,
was great, but never to to let's say 1 or 2 seconds below global average, because that's what you would expect if you never had to do OLL parity ever,
right, right.
right? So it always got stuck around for reference, I think my average at the time was maybe like 26. So it
Mhm.
never ever got to below 25, which is what I was looking for in order to like really consider switching to this.
Right.
But the most difficult part of this was really the inspection, because I couldn't get the tracing time below, maybe like a safe estimate would be like 10 seconds, because you still need
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 seconds to quickly scan through for your first like center and maybe your next center.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I couldn't get it below like 13 seconds on average. And so it was just a no-go. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I guess also, as you said, even if we disregard the inspection time, you know, if if you are not getting 2 seconds below your global average, then, well, obviously, when you're building the first three centers plus your Yao edges, it's going to be slower because you have more things to
Yeah.
track. And
Yeah.
if that's not going to be if that's not going to be compensated by the time that you take to do it all out parity out, then you'd rather just do it 50% of the time.
Exactly. Which is, I guess, like the I was a little bit sad when I couldn't when I realized that it probably wasn't like something I could really focus my time on, because I mean probably for those like 1,000, 2,000 solves I could have worked on something else, right? And
Right,
like
right.
who knows how long more I would have had to work on OPA.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really is like the way you would um decide if this was worth it or not. If you could solve the cube considerably faster than without OPA, then you probably should try to get your tracing much below that. Which I think is interesting, because this is something that like is very unique to 4x4.
Mhm.
Being able to like spend your inspection time so much more like being able to squeeze out so much more from your inspection time from like any other event. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think it's something that like blind solvers might be really good at, actually, like OPA.
Oh, well, I mean, from my experience, I'm only good at the tracing part. I'm not good with the execution part because I mean, I guess for blind solvers, apart from the tracing, we don't really have any other advantage because we in blind solving, we're also not used to tracking the number of quarter turns.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for tracking quarter turns, it was really just a matter of like getting used to the different triggers that you might use when you solve the first like three centers and the sorry, first three cross edges and the centers. Because at least for me, it's been like a while since I've learned Yao. So I don't really like think of things in terms of like triggers anymore. It's sort of just like this is the way I want the center to be built, and then I just do it. But there
Yeah.
are still patterns, and then I had to like deconstruct my solves to like find out which patterns were odd and which patterns were even, and then just like group as many moves together as possible. So I had to reduce the number of times I had to update my count,
Yeah.
essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's also something that um you know the some cubers who have been cubing for longer, they might have more difficulty with because they're just so used to doing what they've been doing all these years.
Yeah.
Right. And do you think you'll ever try to expand to, get better at the bigger cubes, like 6x6, 7x7?
Ooh, so this was something like sort of a goal of mine, maybe like 2 years ago. Yeah, I really wanted to get into 6x6 because it was the step up from 5x5, which at the
Mm.
time I was like really close to the NR average. I think it was NR2 for like the entire of like the COVID period.
Oh.
But since then, 5x5, I've like dropped in ranking like quite considerably. And so
Mm.
6x6 has been like on the back burner, because there's like I should just practice my 5x5 instead of trying to expand to a new event.
Yeah.
But I did have a lot of fun with 6x6 I was actively trying to get better at it because it reminded me a lot of like of 4x4. And 4x4 being my favorite event was like yeah, it made 6x6 a lot more fun because it was the only other even cube with like parity, right? And it sounds funny that I'm saying it this way,
Yeah.
but I guess the feeling I had was just that if I really got a lucky solve, like it would be really, really fast because there's no parity. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah. I've actually never heard someone say, I like this puzzle because there's parity on it.
Yeah, it's not common at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Well, I have one last question,
Yeah.
and this is a question which I've been asking all the people who come on this show, and that is, do you have any predictions for national podiums? You can predict any event, you can predict anything in any event.
Okay, I want to predict for 3x3 because I feel
Yeah.
like this time round, okay, so Daryl's been on a roll for the last like how many years? I think he's gotten like national champion for 3x3 for the last the last two definitely. But I don't know
Mm.
about like extending beyond COVID. I'm pretty sure he was national champion in like 2019 and 2020 as well. So
Mm.
I feel like he's really, really like got a shot at getting it again. But of course he doesn't hold the NR anymore. Like,
Right.
it's Ang Yong Tong, and like
Yep.
he's really good, and I have no idea how he's so good. Like yeah, he's really nervous, but then like he really pops off in dream finals and stuff like this. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping for like a clash of the Singaporean Titans. It's not just them. There's also Tristan, who's like able to keep his nose under control, like immaculately. Very similar to Daryl actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really hoping to see the three of them battle it out.
Right.
In terms of predictions, though, I'm gonna say, think about this. I'm gonna say Ng Yong can stick it out again, and maybe not break the NR because I think the NR is like quite hard to beat, especially in the final situation.
Yeah.
But he will get into finals and do well there.
I also really hope I can see him pull off something good because it's been a
Yeah,
long time coming for him. You know, the thing I know that he has the potential, he has the skill level. The thing holding
yeah,
back is just his nerves.
right. You can really see it get to him. But you know that was it in NTU Welcome or no?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
was
No, no, it wasn't
there's some other NTU comp.
NTU speed cubing
Oh yeah, and that's when he broke the NR. Right? It
in the
was a
head-to-head
clean
final.
it was a clean break. Yeah, it wasn't even close. Like he had solves to spare and stuff like this. So it was very nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess that's all for predictions. I don't really know. I mean, if I could predict 4x4 and OH, it's
yeah, sure.
so for OH, I think Ryan should be coming, but
Yes,
if not,
yes.
it would just be the two like me, Daryl, and Ryan, who will be trying to see who can get the the national podium like top prize. Hopefully
Mhm.
it'll be me, but we'll see about that. Yeah, and 4x4, it's just me and Daryl, I think, who are near the top. Actually, maybe Tristan. Actually, I'm not sure how good Tristan is
Actually,
at 4x4.
from what I've heard, Emmanuel has also been getting
Oh,
quite good at 4x4.
yes. I've been seeing him. I've been seeing him post some scary times on the Telegram channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully he can like pause his practice for just one more year, and then next year I'll give it to him. But this year I'll take it.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, that's it for this episode, and thanks very much again for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was great.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Okay, see ya.